another edition of the NFL podcast. It's week 10. I am your host, Patio Joe, and I'm joined here tonight by filling a special guest star, Matt Shriver. Matty, what's going on? How you doing tonight?
Pretty good, man. It's nice to do a show with you again. It's been like 2 years.
Doing like baseball shows or like football shows back in the beginning, you know? Cool.
Yeah.
So
Back.
now we are back. It is week 10. This season is absolutely just flying by. Last week was a decent week for me. I had a good GPP week, but my cash games did not go so well. I went on the whole Cook and McCaffrey train, and Cook was okay. McCaffrey was better, but Cook didn't do enough. And then my receivers was but my GPP lineups did well. So, and you're a Nats fan, correct? Am I right or no? You're not a Nats fan, or you are a Nats fan?
I am a Nats fan.
Yes, very nice. Yeah, so you must be quite excited. You eliminated my Dodgers, and then went on to just destroy the Cardinals, and then take out the Astros.
It was pretty cool. It's been a nice little run for me. I'm on a little bit of a heater because I'm an Eagles fan too. They won within the last 2 years, and Capitals fan. So I had 0 championships for my first 28 years of my life, and I've had 3 in the last year and a half. So it's been pretty cool.
Yeah, I know. I'm still waiting for the Dodgers to win since '88, so it's been a while. But anyways, that's baseball season, so they'll get back to it. They'll get back there somewhere next year, obviously. So, but we're on to week 10. What's your first initial thoughts? Wait.
I mean, my first initial thoughts is the Tampa Bay Arizona game. Um, I think that's where most people are going to be focusing their attention, and obviously for good reason. Most people have been exploding and having their best game of the year against the Cardinals defense. So um, I expect a lot of people to lean towards Jameis on both sides.
Yeah, the thing about Jameis, I think that brings up we'll just start off. I think the other games I think people are going to be looking at, to stack. I think Carolina, Green Bay, people are going to go there. I think that's an interesting game. Kansas City, Tennessee, I think you can't forget that. Mahomes is back. People are going to go there. But yeah, that Arizona, Tampa Bay is the game everybody's going to go to. And to me, that into cash game quarterback brought up Jameis. And I just feel like we learned our lesson back in week 1 when Jameis was like freaking chalk cash game because they were going up against what we thought was a terrible defense in San Francisco, who we know now is one of the best, if not the best defense. So this week, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. You got Jameis at home against the team that gives up the most points to quarterback position. It's like everything is telling you, go to him in cash. Can you do it? Would you do it?
Like putting your hand on a hot stove and thinking that it's not going to hurt the next time. But I mean, if there's any spot for him to be viable in cash, this has to be it, right?
It has to be. I mean, like on FanDuel, he's 7,900. To me, the only other option in cash that I would think of going to is Lamar Jackson. I mean, he's facing Cincinnati, where he ran for over 100 yards the last time at home. He's a little ill, but I think that's going to be fine. I just feel like when it comes to safe, like Lamar Jackson is going to be the safe play on Sunday, but I feel like Jameis is going to be higher on, though. What do you think?
I think Jameis, I don't see how he wouldn't be higher on, especially with the news coming out that Lamar's sick or whatever is going on with them. I'm sure he'll be fine for Sunday, but I think that might drive ownership down a little bit. But I thought that I thought that Jameis was going to be a little bit more popular regardless.
I'm seeing here on a website that I use for ownership projections. Right now, they have Lamar as the number one owned quarterback on FanDuel. Number two being Breeze, and then Jameis at number three, coming in at 14%. Breeze and Jameis kind of all the same. The thing about it is, to me, I feel like between those three quarterbacks, what I've kind of learned in cash is that the rushing floor for the quarterback is just so paramount in cash games. And I feel like you can't go wrong, even if Lamar doesn't have ceiling game like maybe Breeze or Winston could have. He's not going to kill you either. Winston could get you 4 or 5 picks and still throw for 300, but no touchdowns or 1 touchdowns, and it's not that good. Breeze could just have, they could have one of those games where Taysom Hill runs in 2, Kamara runs in 2. You know what I mean? Like all of a sudden, all these other guys, Josh Hill on an end around runs in 1, like some weird ass play that Peyton draws up. So it's tough, and I feel like it's like, God, why would you not like save $700? Just go to Jameis. It's just, I think it's gonna be the decision of the week in some ways, where you're going to go with that. But right now, I feel like Lamar is a good cash game plan than just going all GB like Breeze and Winston. So what about you?
Yeah, Breeze and Winston, and then throwing a little bit of Kyler also, because it's not like Tampa Bay's any good at stopping the pass. So hopefully, I mean, I'm hoping that game just explodes like Vegas thinks it's going to.
Yeah. What about Patrick Mahomes? He's returning. I think you can always play Mahomes. Why not? He can always get you a 40 burger and beat the
If
state.
he's healthy enough to play, I mean, I don't see why not.
Mhm.
What about cheaper guys like off the wall? I like the two Ryans. I mean, at least on DraftKings, they're Tannehill's 5,100 and Fitzpatrick's 5,200. So, um, Mark Walton suspended. Kalen Ballage is really, really, really bad, and they're gonna have to throw. Vegas predicts them to be down. I don't know if they're gonna score a lot of points, but I mean, we've seen Fitzpatrick go for like 25, and you'll be really happy with that, um, especially on DraftKings. And then Tannehill, I mean, you expect them to have to be throwing most of the game. They would obviously prefer to establish the run, but I just feel like they're not going to really be able to stop Kansas City at all. But doesn't this kind of seem like that weird, like the Titans have been awful all like for the last couple weeks, but they just like randomly show up and play one good game? This could be it. You never know.
Yeah, I know. When we get to running back, Derrick Henry's got a nice matchup. So,
Yeah.
but back to the quarterbacks with Tannehill and Fitzpatrick. On FanDuel, they're 7,200 and 7,100. They're not too far away from guys like, Daniel Jones, which is in a good spot, Josh Allen, which is in a good spot, Matt Ryan, in the dome is coming back. So I feel like you could fade him. I think if you're going to go down anywhere, maybe I would take a look at Trubisky at home against the Lions, who give up a lot of passing, and like I just think that this game might be a sneaky kind of a shootout type of game. Both offenses, Detroit's coming in with a decent offense, going to be throwing the ball. They're going to be trying to run with David Montgomery, but I also feel like look what Carr just did to them last week, tore them up, on the road. So you got a division game. I think Trubisky, if you're going to pay all the way down, Trubisky would be the guy. I don't think you need to do that on Sunday, but I think that's about as far as I would go.
That's the thing I was going to mention with Trubisky. If there was any week for him to come out and at least show that the Bears made some decent decision drafting him, this would be the week where he would show any of his potential. And if he can't, I mean, last week was a pretty good spot for him too, but he couldn't hit anything. He kept on missing Robinson on deep balls. But I think the same thing this week. He's got a pretty good matchup. So, I mean, I went pretty heavy on Allen Robinson last week and it hurt me, but I no problem going right back to that because I mean, the matchup's perfect. So I do like that as a sneaky shootout potential.
It could, and it could be also one of those games where it's freaking sloppy too. So that's what scares me. But moving on to running back, I guess the question of the week would be: is Christian McCaffrey, has he priced himself out of the market?
No way. He hit 4x last week.
Now that's DK. Now FanDuel, he's 10-5 on FanDuel. I think that you're getting to the point where you're getting priced out at a half point PPR. He's gonna need to put up 30. You know what I'm saying?
On FanDuel, it gets a little bit tricky.
You know, I think on FanDuel last week he was at 9.7, and there was somebody above, like right below him, kind of in the striking distance with Cook at 9, so it kind of made it a little bit more tempting. This week you got Barkley at 8,600, almost 2,000 less. Playing the Jets, I mean, it's pretty much a home game both ways. Kamara, I could see he's a great GP play because he's been rested and he's just going to catch a lot of balls out of the backfield. I think they could have played him to go if they wanted to, but they didn't. So I think, guys that are sort of in the mid range that are really safe this week: Aaron Jones at 7,600, and then Marlon Mack at 7,400. Both pretty safe mid-range running backs that are going to have a lot of volume on Sunday in a good matchup. I also think you can look at Nick Chubb going up against Buffalo defense that, I mean, Adrian Peterson looked like he was 25 years old again, just running over people. And now the Bills are on the road and they got a good pass defense. So I feel like Chubb is also in play. Talk to me like on the upper echelon when it comes to DraftKings, who you're looking at with those guys. Anybody else you would slide in? I mean, obviously you said McCaffrey. You're still playing him on DK with the point PPR. I totally see it. Who else though?
Yeah, so last week I kind of went on the fade McCaffrey side just because I felt like Cook could get me there, and I felt like Le'Veon was in a really good spot, but he showed me that he could still hit 4x. So I love McCaffrey. Obviously, the matchup is ideal. So I think he's going to explode. Mac, one of my favorites this week. Miami's no good at stopping the run, and he'll probably get at least 20 carries. So Mark Ingram, another guy that I like this week, kind of leverage off of the everyone being so heavy on Lamar. And then I like Le'Veon again. He's 6,900 on both sites. And Chubb. I love Chubb.
Mm. Yeah, you gotta think. I don't know. What's your thoughts on Kareem Hunt coming back? What do you think he's gonna do? Is he these muddle things? You know what I mean? I think that's what makes Chubb, I think, a GP play. I think you can play him in cash.
I was just about to say 3,000 on DraftKings. What is he on FanDuel? Is he the min?
I would say he's around 5K in the 45. He can't be that much.
Yeah, he's dead minimum.
He's 4,500. He is min price on FanDuel.
On both sides.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how they're gonna utilize him.
Yeah, that would be a dart. I think clear. I honestly think once again the lock 'em down cash game play just for value's sake is going to be Jalen Samuels on both sides. As the week is going on, we have doubtful again. James Conner, they say he's doubtful. The other running back, Trey Edmonds, missed Wednesday's practice due to a rib injury. Benny Snell's not going to return. I mean, if Trey Edmonds is not back, we're really going to get 3 Samuels. And even if, we saw what he could do. I mean, on DK, what's his price on DK?
I think it's 62.
It's 62 on FanDuel, which is really nice. They did not raise it that much. It's 63 on DK, which is, they definitely raised it more. But to me, I feel like he's still an amazing play in cash. He's going to get 10 targets. going to dump it off to them in a game where they're probably, you look at that game, they're probably going to be behind. What do you think? What do you think of that game, that Rams, Steelers game?
I don't know. I have this weird feeling that the Steelers are going to win the game, um, just because they blitz so much,
Mhm.
and Jared Goff is not good under pressure at all. So I worry about that for them. So I actually kind of like the Steelers defense once we get into
Mm-hmm.
the week.
Interesting play. I don't mind that. Yeah. Um, so yeah, to me, I feel like the mid tier running back, Jalen Samuels, when it comes to cash, is just lock him in. Another guy in the mid tier that's been getting, there's two other guys in the mid tier I want to get your thoughts on. Devin Singletary and David Montgomery, both in good matchups. Devin Singletary, we've seen the changing of the guard last 2 weeks. I've been watching him running the ball. He's the number one back in Buffalo. I don't know what the play caller was doing last week, literally giving Frank Gore 3 goal line carries on the goal line. Like it was like first and goal, then give Singletary at once, and it just was terrible. And then you got David Montgomery coming off 2 games where he was really involved. Now he's got a better matchup against the Lions. You can run on the Lions. So I feel like, fading McCaffrey this week on FanDuel is okay. I think you can get away with it in cash. I just see 10-5. There's so many guys in better spot and just as good as spots. But we do know obviously what he can do. So I'm not going to say he's not going to, he might not burn me, but at 10-5, he's got to get it 30 to 35 points. And on FanDuel, he's only gotten 35 points or more 3 times. He's been pretty much living in the high 20s. So, you know, 25, 19, 28, 26, and then 37, 44, and 36. So it's a play I think that you better, if value were to open up some places, you know what I'm saying? Somebody gets hurt or whatever, and obviously there's a chalk, a right receiver or tight end or something, then I could see maybe going up to McCaffrey. But right now, I think I'm going to fade him. I might have him on a GBP. I think I can fade him in cash. Uh,
Yeah,
any other running backs you want to talk about?
yeah, I like both of the guys that you just mentioned. I think Singletary's here to stay. I think really good. I mean, he's right in my backyard over at FAU. Um, but he 68% of the snaps in week 8, 66% of the snaps last week. He'd only played 38% of the snaps in week 7. So I think we're seeing a good little trend here. Um, and he's not ridiculously priced. What is he priced on FanDuel?
Who are we talking about again?
Devin Singletary?
Singletary 6,400.
Yeah, I like him a lot. And then Montgomery's also in a really good spot. We don't need to harp on it, but yeah, they obviously want to get him the ball. I mean, that's probably how they're gonna have the most success. But I like the Bears this week as a whole.
I mean, like I said, the more we talk about it, maybe that game is a little bit, has a little bit more shootout potential. Any other running backs maybe down below that you're looking at for salary relief? I don't know. I'm trying to think of anyway. Damian Williams is 6K. That's pretty cheap. I mean, you've seen his usage has bumped up the last few weeks. He went from 9, 7 to 12 next week.
Ballage is only 4,600 on FanDuel. 4,500 on DraftKings might be a little bit too high, but I think he's pretty much the only running back they have.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of think he's gonna get it. Like, the thing is like, there's been other Miami backs that have been in this situation just like this, just cheap, and they just don't know how to utilize their back, no matter what. And they'd rather throw it a million times with Fitzpatrick, which makes Fitzpatrick a decent play because that's all he's going to be doing is throwing. Moving on to the wide receiver spot, liking up top, who is it? Is it just lock in Michael Thomas? Forget
Yeah,
about it.
yeah, I think you have to. Proven that he's just a lock and load guy, and then I think it's I think it's the Godwin week, right? It has to
Seems
be.
like it. It seems like it, but I don't think that we should shy away from Evans and
No.
GPPs because one, the amount of volume that the Buccaneers play, and two, Patrick Peterson, I don't think is Patrick Peterson. I think he's still getting his legs under him. He's missed the first 6 weeks of the season, and he was beat by Emmanuel Sanders a few times last week. So I think Mike Evans is just as good as Emmanuel Sanders or better. So I think that Evans is a definite decent GPP play. Who else you liking up top? Anybody else?
Hey, let's see who I got here. Oh, I like Tyreek Hill a lot, and especially in GPPs. I always I always play him whenever he's under 10% because he's got the highest as high of a ceiling as anybody in the league. So 7,700 DraftKings, 8,000 on FanDuel. I like him a ton.
Yeah, I could see that, especially with Mahomes back. It could be bombs away and
They
make
haven't played
money.
together since one,
Yeah,
so
I can see that.
it'd be a fun day for them.
All right. Let's move on to the mid tier. I'm all like I said, I'm all for Tyreek Hill and stuff like that. The mid tier. I mean, you have a Julio Jones is under 8K but he's going to go up against Marshawn Lattimore. So yeah, I mean, I think you can always play Julio. I don't see the ceiling game that you're going to get. Anybody in the mid tier? There's nobody really in the mid tier that stands out that I'm like in love with. On FanDuel. When we get to under 6K, that's when we get to the guys that I'm kind of really salivating. What about you?
Yeah, no, I pretty much skipped over the mid tier and then go down to guys like Christian Kirk and Marquise Brown and then even Russell Gage on Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody that I'm definitely interested in, especially since I think Julio is going to be matched up with Lattimore. So Gage and then Calvin Ridley is also somebody that I'm interested in. Gage had 9 targets last week, or what was it, 2 weeks ago? Um, that's an interesting. It's an interesting play. Do you like anyone in the mid tier? Are you looking at anyone?
The mid tier, I'm really not. Like I said, once we get below 6K on FanDuel is when I'm really looking at guys like Devontae Parker. With no Preston Williams, going to get so much volume. John Brown, I still think he's a decent. He's going to blow up at some point, but I'm not really in love with it. Christian Kirk, the first guy that you mentioned was the first guy that I put in my lineup for when it comes to after Michael Thomas. He's facing. He's going to be in the same spot that Tyler Lockett was. Not expecting Tyler Lockett numbers, but I'm expecting a lot more play volume, and there's going to be passing to Kirk more. I like that a lot. Calvin Ridley was another guy I think that stood out. Now that we're going to have so many more, Julio's going to go with Lattimore, like you said. Gage is going to get it, but Ridley I think might be the beneficial. We have Matt Ryan's going to be back this week, correct?
I think so.
I didn't hear that he wasn't. So, talk to me about. You said you like Marquise Brown. Was it just price or what? I think it's more of a GPP pro, like on that one.
Yeah, just the big play potential.
Another guy I like, I think more of a GPP play, but we all see that the Rams run about like 90% 3 wide set. Brandon Cooks out. Not going to be on for a while. So we got Josh Reynolds, FanDuel 5,200. Going to be playing up in the slot. I think it's a decent play. I think it's people are going to be going to Woods and Cup, stuff like that. But Josh Reynolds is going to get some targets too. Anybody else maybe down low that we haven't really brought up? I think maybe these indie receivers, we have to see how they're healthy or not. Like Chester Rogers might have be something of interest too because Paris Campbell is out, so we'll have to look at TY. So if it's just Pascal, then it's going to be Pascal and Chester. Maybe if you wanted to do a little bit on the Bengals side, Auden Tate at 5,300, especially if AJ Green is being out. Like, we just don't know how bad Ryan Finley is going to be. I don't even say how good or how he's going to be, but how bad he's going to be. But the one thing that Tate had is he had, like, was it 20, almost 30 targets in the last 3 games. So they're going to be behind, and you're waiting for garbage time. Who else? Anybody else you looking at down below?
So this is very random, crazy, like off the wall dart throw, but minimum salary on both sites and played about 70% of the snaps last week. Isaiah McKenzie on Buffalo.
Okay.
Very random, but if you're looking for a $3,000 fill in on DraftKings, that's who I would go to. One of the sites that I use for projections has it projected for 10. That's how he stuck out to me. So I looked into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the tight end position, which I feel like the tight end position this year is kind of tricky. It's been a shit show, and it's been like, masturbating with sandpaper at times. And if you get 4 points, I'm almost happy. Last week I put Cameron Brate, and it was a terrible move. The matchup, everything. That brings up a good point. I brought up Cameron Brate. I brought up this saying earlier in the show. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting same or different results, right? But it's the same thing's going to happen. We have OJ Howard, like the best matchup in his life. He's got 2 of the best receivers take attention away from his sorry ass. He's done nothing. Literally, he single-handedly screwed my fantasy team, my seasonal fantasy teams this year. My main one. I'm very upset. He's back, like, from injury, like taking 3 weeks off, like put the other tight end on injury reserve. Like, Brate might be hurt too. Like, what is it crazy to throw in? I'm not in GB, not in cash, but OJ Howard.
Not crazy at all. I have him listed on my list too. I mean, if there's any spot for him to go off, I mean, this is it.
Yeah. And all we want is like 3 and 50 and a touchdown.
He's running over 25 routes a game. So maybe we can just, I know it might sound insane, but we can chalk everything else up to his hamstring. Maybe that's why he was so bad at the beginning of the year. Maybe he's over that and blows up. I mean, he's got big play upside. He just hasn't shown it at all. I don't know why Jameis hasn't been looking his way, but I have to imagine that Bruce Arians, I mean, this is a Bruce Arians revenge game too. Remember that. So you got to imagine that he knows how bad they are against tight ends, and maybe he'll scheme something up. I mean,
but that's when Brate will troll you. See, I'm gonna go a little rant here. Like, have you looked at the pricing on FanDuel with their tight ends week? Explain to me how Mark Andrews is
more than Travis Kelce?
He is 6,800 on FanDuel, and he's gotten 3.1 points, 4.9, 10.97, 11.13, and then his first 2 weeks of the season, which one was against Arizona, was 21.2 and 20.8. He's literally living off of his first 2 weeks of the season. And he's the highest tight end on the board. Literally, biggest fade of the year. You don't even have to I can't even believe. I would love somebody to explain to me how he is more than. Let's not even say Travis Kelce had an off year. Why don't we pick the tight end that's had the best year? Austin Hooper. Like, how is he more than Austin Hooper, who is like constantly 15, 12, 21, 10, 17, 21, like it's amazing. And it's like, that being said, Mark Andrews will probably score 3 touchdowns this week. But at 6,800, I just, that has got to be price. Like, somebody should be fired for that. Somebody had to have been like, you're suspended for a week.
What do you think about Mike Gesicki?
I mean, the volume is going to be there. I think Gesicki and Hawkinson are in really good spots. Those are down below, like good salary relief. I'm totally with it. I don't know if they're cash viable, but I like it. But I think you need to just pay down this week when it comes to something like that. Like, I like Hooper, 66. I think if you could fit in Hooper, I think is the obvious tight end choice. But there's just, because Kelsey is great. He's going to blow up at some point. And at that price, I don't mind playing him either. So, yeah, tight end is just a shit show. And I think that you either just pay down for like Hawkinson or Gesicki or go to Kelsey or Cooper. Pretty simple.
I was in charge of making the fantasy football league for my office this year, and I made it so that you didn't have to have a tight end on your roster.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, it's such a bad spot, and
it's horrible.
Now Ingram's hurt too, so how are you gonna? It's just not like he was in the best spot anyways, but like I just don't see. Let's see, who do they have as the highest owned tight end? They have Kelsey as the highest owned tight end at 16%, and they have Andrews at under 10%. Like, yeah, I mean, who in God's name would go to Andrews? You can just pay $100 less. Yeah. and go to Kelsey or Hooper. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like,
the site that I use has Kelsey for 26%, and it only has Gesicki for 1.2. I think that's got to go up, right?
Yeah, I mean, literally, this is for Pauly D. Mark Andrews' price, FanDuel, is a GPP wrapped in a GPP. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about when I say that. He said that He said that a couple weeks ago, and we were like, literally, we all kind of like stopped and like, what are you talking about? Like, he was really like, it was kind of confused. Me and CK, we both stopped and we were like, okay, Pauly, all right. So anyway, so yeah, I think that's the way you go on tight end this week. It's a shit show. I think OJ Howard definitely is in play at 5,000. I am really considering on playing him on my seasonal team, the one that fucked me over all year, just because it's like, if he does score 2 touchdowns, you're gonna be like, I knew it. So, what about Greg Olsen, old man Olsen?
I mean, Kyle Allen likes him.
Last week he went he had 6 targets, went 3 for 40. Okay, not that much. Like on FanDuel, okay, but most of the time, this is the thing about most tight ends. They all usually go 3 for 40, and it just depends on whether or not they're one of the 4 that get in the end zone that week. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're all 3 for 40.
That's literally it.
So I feel like Greg Olsen is just as safe if you wanted to throw him in there of all those other guys to get you 3 for 40.
just don't be surprised if you see my winning screenshots with Ryan Fitzpatrick, Devontae Parker, and Mike Gesicki in my lineup.
So that being said, that blends us right into defense. I would imagine you are fading the Colts defense then this week.
Well, no, I'm actually playing the Colts defense for sure, but in this lineup will be like a hedge.
Yeah, where do you think you are going to go in defense Sunday? You think it's the Ravens?
Cleveland. On DraftKings, they're only 2,500. They're only 3,500 on FanDuel.
Hmm.
So I think some people are going to go there. The Giants D, um,
Yeah, I don't mind the Giants D.
and the Steelers.
Yeah, I hear the Steelers D. You know, you brought it up earlier, and I'm hearing some people in the chat were bringing up the Steelers D. Um, so yeah, I think that you know it's I like to play. One other thing they brought up, I think a tight end too. I think if Delaney Walker is out again, I think Jonnu Smith makes a decent play. But I think if Walker's back, it just muddles both of them, and you just don't want to play either of them because I think Jonnu Smith has played enough to have more of a role. So, but yeah, the defense maybe the Jets at 3,900, I could see them giving Jones a little bit of problem, but I think the Bills' offense is competent enough where it's like I thought last week the Browns were in a good spot against a rookie quarterback, and they like shit the bed. Denver. I thought they would have played much better than they did. But in this time they're at home. Josh Allen runs a little bit. I could see him throwing a couple picks, but I just feel like it's not enough for me. Um, but I could see it as a cheaper. I think the Jets is probably about as low as I'd go right now. Um, yeah, that's about it. I think that it's just going up top. The Giants are pretty safe. Um, that's about it. Yeah, Colts, Ravens. Ravens are the chalk. I think.
Yeah, yeah. The Giants at 2,800 on FanDuel are in a
You know,
pretty
DraftKings.
DraftKings. Yeah, pretty good spot. So
Let's see. They got here the. Actually, believe it or not, FanDuel. I mean, I'm seeing right now the highest owned defense on FanDuel is the Browns, which is just what I just don't get that. But all right,
I
we'll
mean,
see what they
Allen's
say.
good for like 3 sacks, probably more than that. Um, I just feel like we're gonna get a much better effort from Cleveland this week.
Yeah, I haven't been on them all year, and I've kind of been okay with it. Last week I was on them, their defense, and they kind of shit the bed. I feel like this is a better offense than the Broncos, but um, I mean this is what the ownership says. I don't know if I agree with it, but I feel like it's easily fadeable. I think it's more just price. They're the
Yeah,
cheapest, so
so
people.
kind of been that way with defenses this year. I've seen a lot, especially on DraftKings. They'll make like the Redskins 1,500 in like a
Mhm.
boring game against the Niners.
Yeah, I mean they try and tempt you. Yeah, like this week they have the Falcons or 1,500 against the Saints.
Yeah.
Like they want to tempt you. They're like, well, if they get like 2 or 3 points, it's okay. So, all right, but I think that's gonna do it for our position by position breakdown. Let's go. Let's move on to our top 3 bets of the weekend. Hitting the lines. You can do the over unders. You can do whatever you want.
So the Colts, I just don't. I know they're 10-point favorites. I just don't see how they don't cover.
Hmm. You think you're gonna win by more than 10? Okay. All right. There's your one. Okay.
I think I think they're gonna win by more than 10. I do like the Dolphins for fantasy purposes, but I I think that the Colts are going to be able to control the game on the ground, and that's exactly what they want to do. And I just don't think that the Dolphins are going to have any answer to stop it.
Mhm. What else you like? Give me 2 more.
I like the over in the Bucks Cardinals game. I feel like 51.5 is a little bit too low. Uh, what about you?
Yeah, I know. I'm with that. I think that's going to be I think that's going to be the over. We're hoping it's going to be the over. Um, It should be. Hopefully the weather's fine. If there's no rain or anything. I'm liking that. Yeah.
And I like the Bears -2.5 at home. I'm on the Bears this week. I feel like they're not a bad team. They have the pieces.
Mhm.
They just Trubisky needs to step up, but their defense is still good. I mean,
Mhm.
watched them last week. Their defense is still pretty good.
All right. All right. My three, I'm going to go with the over in the Atlanta New Orleans game. Over 51 points. I think that is just going to be, I mean, it could be New Orleans, just, pouring it on, 35 to, 17 or something like that. And it's a blowout. I like that. That's my number one. I like moving to Monday night game. I like Seattle getting 6 on the road, division game. Here it is. Russell Wilson wins the MVP. Wins this game on Monday. I think he might already win the MVP, which is kind of weird because Lamar Jackson just beat Tom Brady and he already beat Russell Wilson, but some reason Russell Wilson is getting the MVP fanfare right now. I'm not like a Ravens fan or nothing. Me, Lamar Jackson should be.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Think about that. He did beat him.
He beat him, and he just beat Brady. He beat Wilson on the road and just beat Brady at home, giving their first loss. I don't know. Lamar Jackson's my MVP.
I agree.
And then I think the over in the Carolina Green Bay game. It's at 47-46, and I can just see Rodgers coming out, throwing and running the ball, both teams being able to do what they want with McCaffrey and with Jones and stuff like that. I'm with that. And then I think a bonus, the over in the Detroit-Chicago game. We both talked about how that's a game we kind of like. So if we both think it's sneaky, it's going to be over that. And then you got to think the overs, we almost want to play it DFS wise. Stafford with those receivers, with David Montgomery is a decent play, or Trubisky, something like that. So let's see if we have anything else in the chat. I don't think we really have anything. All right, here we go. We have a standard league, 3 wide receiver standard league between Devontae Parker, Hollywood Brown, Golden Tate, Michael Gallup, A. Moore. Here's what I said. I said Tate, Gallup, and Parker.
Yeah.
Even though it's a standard league, I still like Tate just because there's no Shepard and there's no Ingram. That is just volume or not.
Yeah.
And Gallup with the matchup with a very beatable secondary with Minnesota. I'm not scared of that. It just takes 1 or 2 for him.
And then Parker the volume.
And then Parker again the volume. I don't mind DJ Moore, but he's going up against a decent pass attempt. And then Hollywood Brown is just, I feel like if you were an underdog, you might roll with Brown over like Gallup because he might have more of a higher upside of a blow up. But up until maybe weeks 1 or 2, we haven't really seen much about Hollywood Brown.
No, we haven't, but he's still there.
Mm-hmm. It's coming. You know what I mean? Like maybe Howard's breakout. God, it would be great if he scored 3 touchdowns this week. It just would be so nice for everybody. Then he only has like 3 the whole year, Anyways, all right, guys, that is going to do it for the Week 10 NFL podcast. Be sure to join the nation and get a day pass or get a weekly or monthly pass. We have the NFL Y stream Friday featuring CK013 and our man, the big Paulie D, on there, and they'll be breaking down everything Week 10. Don't forget, we have the showdown slates, which you do, Matt. How do you like doing those showdown slates?
I'm actually done now. Juan's taken over because I'm doing Friday, Saturday, Sunday NBA.
Oh, nice. Okay, nice. So you be running some NBA. Nice. That's good. And of course,
tomorrow.
you have the FanDuel cash game article that I release every probably Saturday afternoon. Depends on how long the kids are napping. And so, anything left to say, Matt, before we get out of here?
No, let's just win some money this week.
Yep, I like it. All right. So for my man Matt, I'm Patio Joe. There's our man CK says in the back.